What did you get up to? I heard Rabbaran asking about it. Oh, Gufa. 4 lines up on the bottom, Mem Dalet on the base. Yeah, Gufa. So again, we're talking about somebody sells a field to his friend, and then he wants to say Eidos to prove that it's his field. So he's negay of Eidos. He can't. So Gufa, Amar Ram Bar Shmuel, Mishmei de Shmuel. Let's say somebody sells his field to his friend without achrayis, which means the guy's a sucker, right? Because the guy's buying a field with what's he buying? He's buying it with the guy has no responsibility whatsoever.
As is,
correct. As is with no tightness. Right, without any tightness, right? We said yesterday, even if they come and say, "Oh, the field was stolen from you," he says, "What should I do?" I mean, right? What should you do, right? So that's meaning the guy stole the field, he still can't have any achrayah. Yes. Yeah. So what? Yeah. So anyway, so he cannot say edus because now the reason why he wants to do it is because he wants to be minded in front of his Baal Chayv, meaning he has negias that he wants the field to be his because he wants this field to go to this sucker who he sold it to. Right? So Gemara says, "Hey, Chidami, what's the case?" So Memhei, yeah, bound to Memhei. This like, meaning again, we have the guy. It's a little bit hard to understand. The seller sold the field shaloi ba'achrayas. It means the guy is a sucker, right? Meaning he's not taking any sort of responsibility. So now he wants to say edus that the field is really his. Now the reason why he wants the field to really be his is because the guy that he owes money to will go after this sucker who bought the field from him, and he'll take that field from him, and this guy will be free and clear, right? Right? Does that make sense? Meaning he'll be free and clear because
you mean the seller
of the field
clear.
will be free and clear, right? Because his Baal Chayv, the guy who he owes money to, is going to come to this sucker. We're calling him sucker just for clarity's sake, and say, "Hey, that field belongs to me," and that guy can't even go after the borrower who sold him the field because he bought it to work out, because then he pulled off a scam of the century. So now Gemara asks, so what's the case? If the seller has other lands, then the guy he owes money to is going to go after those lands, right? So it can't be talking about where he has other land, right? Because that comes first. And and if he doesn't have arachriti, right? So then, my nafkale mina, what does he care? If he doesn't have any other fields, nothing's going to happen to him, right? Meaning he already gave away this field, right? So what's the guy going to say? Oh, the mechira doesn't work, so I'm coming after your fields. I don't have any other fields. Right? So, Mamanav Shach, what's the negias? Where it says, really, it's talking about where he doesn't have any other land. Finally, we get to this line. He says, the reason why he has negias is because he doesn't want to go on this pasuk in Tillim that says loiva Russia, somebody who's a Russia borrows, it doesn't pay. He doesn't want to be known like that. Like, it's hard to understand. The guy just sold somebody a field, shaloi ba'achrayis, right? He sold the guy a field, shaloi ba'achrayis, which he knew he owed somebody money, and he knows that the creditor is going to be coming after this field, and he sold it to him anyways, right? But he doesn't want to have such a bad reputation that a guy that borrows doesn't pay back.
The Gemara say that it's the Kucha's problem. Right, there's a call that the guy borrowed money. They should watch out. It's not. I don't think it's his fault.
Well, that's the Gemara's going to have a back and forth now, exactly what it is. But yeah,
I don't think it's so bad that he did that. If the buyer doesn't want to get into it, he shouldn't have bought the field.
And a Hanami, but he ain't getting the Tzaddik of the Year award. That's for sure, right?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. So let's do it. David, what are you saying?
Did he do anything usher here? Is anything he did usher?
No. Well, to not pay a loan, yeah.
He didn't pay the loan yet. Maybe this loan is due in 3 years.
Yeah, I'm saying he might not be the greatest guy in the world, but he didn't do anything. That's what I'm saying. I agree with. He didn't do anything so crazy.
You're agreeing with Ben that he didn't do anything so crazy.
So if nothing's usher, so what did he do? Did he do anything wrong, or he's just not the nicest guy in the world?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't do anything wrong. It's why just not? But he's still negea be'edus because he doesn't want to be known as the guy who doesn't pay up his loan.
That's about his reputation,
right? Well, reputation, or maybe it's usher to not pay back your loan. But yeah, he's negea be'edus with that regard.
Let's see the next kasha. Right? So what it says, Saif, Lagabi Idoch Nami, Live Rush Yishalamu. Right? By the other one, he's a Live Rush Yishalamu. Meaning the other guy's not going to be happy with him. Right? So depending nobody's going to be happy with him. Meaning, if let's say he's right, so the buyer's going to get the field, and then the guy's going to come take it away from him. If he's going to be like, "What'd you do to me?" Right? So the Amar, so lahachis vini lachalei b'achrayis, and then he tells him, "Wait, I think that's what you're saying, Ben, right? That's why I sold it to you without achrayis. It's your fault, not your fault. Whatever. It's not that. What are you going to do, right?" Anyway, so that's that. So then, Machris is a new thing here. Not mamish new, but along the same lines. Machris Rava Yitem Rapapa. Rava and some say Rapapa called out the Salkan Le'ila. Anybody going up to Eretz Yisrael, who the Nafsin Latata, and those are going down, meaning that are going down to Bavel. He told them, "Hi Bar Yisrael, if you have a Yid, Tezavin LeChamra LeYisrael Chavre, who sold a donkey to another Yid." Because the Akam Va'anis Lemine, and then came along a guy and took it away from him. Dinahu the Mufti Lemine. The halacha is that he could that he has to try and get it back from the guy. So again, one Yid sold the donkey to another Yid, then came along a guy, stole it from him. So the seller has to go try and get it from the guy. All right. So we'll see exactly what the pshat is. That's only if he doesn't recognize it to be the seller's chamor. But if he recognizes that it is the seller's chamor, then the seller does not have to try and get it back. Right? Because again, if there's a possibility that the Yid sold something that didn't belong to him, so now he has to go back and try and fetch it to the guy. But if it was stolen from him by a guy, which it probably was, if he recognized that it belonged to the seller, so it was stolen from him by the guy, then he doesn't have to go, because the same way it's your bad luck. The guy could have stolen from the parah from you, and he could have stolen from the other guy. So that's the first thing. And this is also talking about where meaning when does the Yid have to try and get it back? That's when the guy didn't take the saddle together with it. Right? But if he took it with the saddle, then it doesn't apply. Right? Because again, then the guy he's not coming to collect. I don't know why we think this guy is some sort of tzaddik, but he's not coming to just collect something that really belongs to the guy. He's really coming to be a crook, right? Fine. So Ameimar Amar Afilu Leka Kolhani, even if it didn't have any of these, meaning he didn't recognize it, and there was no it wasn't stolen with the saddle, still loy. He's never required. He's not mechuyev to do this. My timer. Why? Made the yada the stam over kechavim on. So he knows that a stam over kechavim is a crook. Shenemar asher piyam diber shav yaminam yamin shaker. They speak. Shav means for nothing, meaning they lie, and the yaminam yamin shaker, and their right hand is lies. Right. So every guy is a liar. Therefore, we don't have to worry.
What is this talking about? I sell Naftali a car, then a guy steals it from his driver, so I have to go look for the guy?
Yeah, because
what am I, a cop? What am I, FBI agent? What does that have to do with?
Because the guy didn't take it. The guy is saying that the Yid is a crook, and the Yid stole his animal and sold it. Right? That's what the chashash is, that Itaka belonged to the Yid. I'm sorry, to the guy. Right? It's very interesting, Taka. Why is the Gemara saying a case of a guy? Because it was a
maybe it's not. Maybe every goy is not such a Russia, but the Akum is. Just to make a nafkamina, because it's funny, we're talking about this Yid and we're saying he's such a tzaddik, but by the Akum, every one of them is a thief. Maybe it's
but that's the Gemara. It's interesting because that's the Gemara's maskana. In the Havamina here, the Gemara is thinking not, right? The Havamina is here that the Yid could have possibly stolen it from the guy and then sold it. Now, why don't we say a case of a Yid from a Yid? Because a Yid from a Yid can go to Bezdin, but a guy, you can't go to Bezdin. Right? Since you can't go to Bezdin, so we're talking about a case where a guy, it's with a guy, and saying the Rav Papa's Chiddush is, it's either Rav or Rav Papa, the Chiddush is that you have to try and help out to get this thing back from the guy. Right?
Why do we assume that we can't take the guy to Bezdin?
The Tosfos talks about why it doesn't talk about a case. There could have been a Yisrael. He could have said the same thing. He says talking about Goyish law in the Havamina of the Gemara.
Yeah.
You couldn't go to Bezdin. It's talking about whatever American law, let's say.
Well, I guess with American law you could. Yeah.
So someone else will cut his hand off. Where do you see in the Gemara that we're talking about the secular law, ever?
No, we're not. But here we're saying, no, meaning we need an explanation why he's saying this din b'negeh to a guy and not a Yid, right? Why are we doing that for? Right? Anyways, that's what we're trying to explain. Either way, the bottom line is Maskanas Gemara is that Ameimar disagrees with this whole thing, and he says you don't have to go after a guy, you don't have to help him out because the guy is not trustworthy. Why would we ever trust a guy? But it's interesting because Rav and Rav Papa don't seem to be going like that. Right? Seems like Rav and Rav Papa seem to be saying that the guy maybe has some sort of nemonos. Right? Fine. So let's see weiter. Uman ain't like chazaka. So we said that an uman doesn't have a chazaka, now which makes a lot of sense. Again, a chazaka is pshat, where a guy goes into somebody's field and starts using it. And since nobody made a macha on him, so it must be that they're masking that it's his. But an uman can't have that, because an uman, you can't, you say you bring your stuff to the tailor. And Yonah the Yomer, right? Everybody wants to know their tailored stuff, can they wear in the 9 days? Right? You bring your stuff to the tailor. Imagine if the tailor comes and says it's his. And he says, you should have made a machami. Why do I have your shirt, right? Or your pants? Why do I have your pants? We can't make, the owner's not going to say to him, what do you mean? I didn't make a macha on you because you're sewing them for me. Right? Right? So but a uman can't have that. So
this talking about macha is talking about metaltalin over here, right? It's not really macha. It's not macha.
No, we're talking about chazaka. Yeah, we're talking about the uman cannot make chazaka.
Right, but on metaltalin, you don't need to make a macha for metaltalin, right? If it's the shaila, if it's in his rishus, do we consider him to be muchlik in the item?
Correct. Meaning, bottom line is the guy cannot say that it's his. He can't say it's his because they're like, how did it get to me? What do you mean it got to you? It got to you because you're my tailor. That's why.
Right. It's like the Gemara said, like animals or things that are meant to be lent. Those things, there's no chazaka just because you have it. There's no raya, it's yours that you have it.
Yeah. Right. So Rav is going to severely limit this because here it sounds like if you have a fight, now think about it. You have a fight between the tailor and the owner. The owner says, it's mine. The tailor says, no, it's not. It's mine. So the Gemara is saying that the tailor loses. I mean, the Mishnah seems to be saying the tailor loses. Right? Comes along Rav and says, no, it's not so fast. We say that the tailor loses. That's only if it was handed over to Adam. There are Adam that say, we saw him drop off his suit by the tailor. But if he gave it to him without Adam, if there was no Adam there, then the tailor could have just said, I don't know what you're talking about. Right? This is not yours. So ki amra le nami lakuchihi biyadi mehemen. But now that he says, I bought it from you, so he has a migu. Right? Right? Because again, it's a standard old migu. The guy could, if he wanted to lie, he could have made a much better lie. He could have said, I don't know, I'm denying that this is yours, it's mine. Right? Fine. So that again, that's Rabba's big chiddush. Right? That I don't know if it's a big chiddush, but he's saying that if it was not handed off with Adam, then the guy, then the tailor's taka believed. Right? So then, but Abaya disagrees. I'm like Abaya, nami. If that's the case, then even with Adam also, even if there's Adam that see that the guy dropped off the suit by the tailor, because he said to him, I give it back to you, right? I'm sorry. He could say, I gave it back to you, and then I got it back some other way. So when he says that I actually bought it from you, he should be believed. So basically, Abai is trying to say that it can't be. Right? That's what I'm saying. But so what does Abai say? I'm saying, what is his din lamaisa? He's going with the regular din that even if there's Adam, he's not believed. Meaning he doesn't care about it. Adam doesn't change it. So the bottom line is the tailor is going to have to give it back. But we'll see the Shaklataya now. So Rabba said to him, "Be savras. Do we hold right? Anton ben Beis now. Hamafkir etzel chavera be'edim. That if somebody gives something to his friend with Adam, meaning that don't you hold that if somebody borrows something with Adam that he has to give it back with Adam, right? So what's Abaya saying? He has a migu because he could have given it back. Well, what Rav is saying, then what do you mean? But we know that you have to give it back with Eidim, right? So Ella, Hamafkir Eitzach Haver Be'edim, Tzorach Lachs Le'edim. Havada, he has to give it back with Eidim. Meaning, what you're thinking that he doesn't have to give it back with Eidim if he has a migu? No, he does have to give it back with Eidim. So then Abaya has the kasha to Abaya is asking kasha to Rava. It's interesting because the Bach changes from a Meisvei to Eisvei, right? Because Meisvei is not only plural people asking. Here it's Abaya challenging Rava, so you have to change it to Eisvei from Meisvei, right? So Ra Avda Biyad Uman. If a guy saw his Eved Biyad Uman, meaning an Uman, the tailor is using his Eved, the Talisa Biyad Koivis, or he saw his talis by a laundromat. And he says to the guy, the owner of the laundromat, he says, what is my Eved doing by you? So if he says to him, you sold it to me, and you gave it to me with a matana, loy omar klum. He didn't say anything. Right? Meaning, if he says to him, it was sold to me, it was given to me, we don't trust any word that he says. Befanai, but he says, Befanai amarta loy lemoichroi v'litnei loy matana. But if he says that there was a third party involved, and he says, you told this third party to give me money, whatever, to sell it to me, then his words are mukuyim. You hear what it's saying? If the Gemara till now wasn't confusing, this is really confusing. Right? Again, if a guy goes to the laundromat guy and says, what are you doing with my Eved, or what are you doing with my talis? And the guy tells him, I bought it from you. We don't believe it. But if he says that you don't remember, you told the third party to give it to me, then we do believe it. Okay. What's the difference?
Did you say if you take the tailor? Why would my tailor have my Eved? I understand why he would have my talis, but why would he have my Eved? Because he needs a worker, so he took my Eved to be his worker?
No, I don't know why he has your Eved.
He just used the term tailor because of the beggar, but it could be anything. The butter, the electrician that got your Eved. It doesn't. No difference.
Why can't I drop off your tailoring?
What do you mean?
You said a third party. If you asked me to drop off your cleaners.
No, that's like it wasn't just it wasn't a third party. It wasn't the third party dropping it off. The third party was told to sell it or give it to Matana.
And you can verify this with the third party.
What?
And you're verifying this with the third party.
You verify with the thumb in the share. So you come back. What? I'll be on. Probably 10, 15 minutes. But I might be going to Erev, so I don't come to my bungalow later.
If there was a third party, they bring the third party. You can't verify it here.
Why don't we have a Kazake and other maize kind of thing?
I have no idea.
We didn't get it. We didn't get there yet.
Well, I don't think it's going to say that, but that's that's fine, whatever. But I have no idea how that works. Right? Okay, but either way, that's but when it goes through a third party, he's believed. Why? Ma'ishno reisha, ma'ishno seifa. What's the inspiration to seifa? Amar Rabba. Rabba says seifa beyotzim mitachas yidei acher. The seifa is talking about where it came from somebody else, right? From a third party. Meaning he's an independent party. He's not the buyer, supposed buyer, and he's not the seller. Right? And he's saying that it's his. And then he says to Acher, in front of me, you told me to give it to him as a matana. So then he's believed. Why is he believed? Migu di by Amalemi, no svante. He could have just said, I bought it from you. Meaning, why does this Well, if this third party guy is lying, right? Well, if this guy's lying, why does he have to make this whole story? You told me to give it and Right. Right? Right? So Elamai, he must be the leaver of Migu. So Ki Amar Le Nami B'fanei Amarta Lo L'Makra Dvar K'Yam Mem. So therefore he's believed. Right? So again, basically it's all about Migu. The third guy has the third party guy has a Migu. The second party guy does not have a Migu. Because all he's saying it's mine. So it's a he said, she said. Okay, so what does this have to do with our Gemara? Katani Miyas, but we learned Reisha Ra, right? In the Reisha it says that he saw, right? Again, how did this whole thing start? Ra Avte Biyad Uman, V'Talisa Biyad Kovis. He saw it. Hey Chidami, what's the case of Ra? Idika Edim. So if there's Edim, Lamali Ra. If there were Edim that he saw them give the thing to the tailor, let's say. So why do you need Ra? Nasi Edim V'Nishkal. I'm sorry. It's Reisha Ra. Hechidam Idika Edim Lamali Ra. Nasi Edim Nishkal. Then just bring the Edim that you dropped it off by the tailor and you take it. Elalav Delek Edim. Must have done where there's no Edim. The Chira Mia Tofeslay, right? And when you take it, then you grab it, right? Right. So Memela, we're saying that it's talking about where there was no aid. He says, "Hey, it belongs to me. So let me take it back." So didn't Rabbah just say that this whole thing only works? The lack of chazaka only works when there's Adam. Mashma here, when there's no Adam, it still goes back. If it still goes back to the owner. Right? So that's a kasha Rabbah. Again, Rabbah said that it only goes to the owner when there's no Adam. Right? That's what Rabbah said. Right? So, but here we're saying that it can't be talking about with Adam because then it's Pasha that goes back to him. So it must be talking about not Adam. Right? So, and then let him just take it. So we would let him take it. So Gemara says, Loyal Dik Adam said there is Adam for who dera. Right? Meaning, but it only works if he saw it in the tailor's reshus. Right? Meaning if he didn't see it there, then the tailor's gonna be believed with the migu. Because he could have just said, "Oh, what do you mean? It's not." Meaning, the Gemara is saying that you can't have this fight. Meaning, a guy, they come to the Bezdin, and the guy says, I dropped off my suit by the tailor, and the tailor claims he doesn't have it. Right? And we ask him, did you see the suit by the tailor? He says, no, I never saw the suit by the tailor. So in that case, it's a migu. What the Gemara means is we're talking about where there's Adam, right? But the guy still had to have seen it. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. So then the Gemara says, but didn't you say? How can you say he has a migu then? Right? Didn't you say that somebody who borrows something from a friend with Adam needs to pay him with Adam? So how can you say you'd believe him that he would give him back if you have to give it back with Adam? So Gemara says, Amalei Hadribis. And then Rabbah said, you know what? I changed my mind. He doesn't change his mind in his pshat with the chazaka with the Adam. He's changing his mind that when somebody borrows something with Adam, he doesn't have to pay it back with Adam. Okay, so Masav Rava, the Siyul Rava, Rava asked the kasha to prove as a proof to Rabbah. Right, Rava's backing up Rabbah. Somebody gives a talis to an uman. Right, a classic case. Guy gives his talis to an uman. The uman says, you have to pay me 2. I said, no, I'm not giving you 2. I'm only giving you 1. So talis biyad uman. As long as the talis is still by the tailor, we're just calling it a tailor, but by the worker, then the balabayas has to bring a raya, right? Because the what's it called as a migu. Because he could have just said, I bought it. I'm not fixing it for him. He could have just said, I bought it and it's mine, right? And but if he already gave him back the talis, meaning he gave it back to the owner, so Bismano, if it's at the time that he's supposed to get paid, so nishba v'naita, like we know that anytime you want to take money from somebody, you got to swear. So he should make a shvua and say that I was supposed to get paid 2, and then he takes it. But once the time passes, then then he doesn't get his money until he proves, right? Like anything else, right? So if it's at the time he's supposed to get paid, then he can take the money, and right, we had this in Bava Metzia. He takes the money, he has to make a shvua though. But this man passes, then he's already, now it's meaning because a person normally has a chazaka. I don't know if it's a chazaka is the right word. A yid is supposed to pay that day, minus the vendors nowadays. But a yid is supposed to pay that day. So we assume that the yid paid that day. So the guy wants it, he takes it. But once it's past that day, so then we assume that he gave it. I mean, then it's a whole deal on whether maybe the guy forgot it, he didn't forget it. The Gemara says on that day, it could be he knows he has to pay, but he might have forgotten. So therefore, the tailor is believed.
What was his migoy? You said he had a migoy in the beginning?
He has a migoy, yeah.
What was his migoy? You said he could have said he bought it?
Yeah.
Didn't we say earlier that he can't say such a thing?
Why not? Well, that's going to be the kasha, whether they were Edom or not. That's going to be the proof to Rabbah. This is going to be that proof. Right? So yeah, so the Gemara says, hey, then what's the case? If there's Edom here that he gave it to him and that he owes him whatever amount of money, lichsi Edom my kamri, let the Edom see what was said, meaning how much money was agreed between the two of them on top of base. We'll get to the 2 dots. Yeah, elalav the leka Edom. Must be told there's no Edom. But Katani uman mehemen. We said that the uman is believed. Uman mehemen. Migu di boy amalei lukuchi biyadi. He's believed because he could have just said that I bought it. Mehemenami agree. So therefore, since he could have lied about the whole thing, so then he's also believed on the how much he's supposed to get paid. All right. Excuse me. So it's talking. So what do you see? So the memela. When there's no proof of anything, he's believed. One second, and there's no Edom. The reason why the Uman is believed is because there's no Edom, right? So that's like Rabbah. Rabbah said that he's only believed. I mean, he's not believed when there's Edom, but if there's no Edom, he's believed. So you see here, he's believed, at least that day. Somebody says loy lam delek Edom. Somewhere there's no Edom. Who deloy ra? It's talking about again where they never saw the actual beged in the possession of this tailor. So then he has a migu because he could have just lied the whole thing. Meaning, if they saw it, then it's a different story. But if they didn't see it, he could have just denied the whole thing, and he didn't. So therefore, he has a migu that he's believed. Okay, so then Masar Rav Nachman Yitzchak Uman ain't like chazaka. Uman does not have a chazaka, like we said. Uman who ain't like chazaka is mashman, and Uman doesn't have a chazaka, right? Ha'achar yesh a chazaka, but somebody else who's not an Uman, and he has somebody's shirt, let's say, or talis, then he has a chazaka. Teichidami, what's the case? If we're talking about where there's Edom, right? So then achar amai yesh a chazaka. Why does somebody else have a chazaka? There's Edom that this thing belonged to the owner. Elalav the lek Edom must be talking about where there's no Edom. Because Uman ain't loy chazaka. It says an Uman does not have a chazaka when there's Edom. There's no Edom, sorry. We say that the Uman does not have a chazaka. Now, Rabbah said that if there's no Edom, the Uman does have a chazaka. Right? So, Elamai, this is not like Rabbah. Tiyufta the Rabbah, Tiyufta. So we say, yes, we take a shlug of Rabbah, and Rabbah's din is not applicable, and therefore an Uman never has a chazaka, whether there's Edom or whether there's no Edom, an Uman does not have a chazaka. Okay, we'll stop over there. Let's say a Tillim. Lamnatzeach Yisrael David. Ad Ona Adonai Tishkachini Netzach. Ad Ona Taster Espenecha Mimeni. Ad Ona Oshas Eitzes Benashti Yogan Melovi Yomim. Ad Ona Yoram Oive Eloi. Habita Anini Adonai Eloi Ha'ira Eina Kenisha.